Hello. Welcome to the Niknax Coffee Chat, where we talk about all things Niknax. And if you're like, what is Niknax? Niknax is the e-commerce marketplace that I own as the Crazy Lamp Lady. We have live sales, buy it now listings, and multi-day auctions. We're about 50,000 members, about 5,000 sellers, and over 100,000 listings. We're almost 2 years in and growing very quickly. So we would love to have you come and join us on niknax.net. That is niknax.net. And today that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Niknax. So come on over, join us on Niknax. If you're over on Facebook or YouTube, you can hang out with us. But right now, this stream is happening over here on Niknax. So let me get real quick over to YouTube. I'm going to switch us to subscribers only. My computer is going absolutely crazy because I haven't been here for a week, so all my notifications are going off at once. So bear with me. It's like in the corner, it's like, yeah, look at all these things that happened last week. All right, let's see. Live. Edit. How is everybody doing? Where did I get my necklace? Oh, this is an Alan Ardiff design. You can find him on Instagram. Maybe on Facebook too. I've never looked on Facebook. But I know that I found him on Instagram. And he has a website. All right, that should have worked. All right, perfect. I can add coffee in. Let me add coffee. All right, let's see. Actually, the reason I was late today is because I fixed my photo box. I was going through all of the connections on my photo box and testing them out one by one. And I ended up switching the connection with my white photo box so that I could just sit here. I prefer this one. And it worked. It's fixed. But now the white one doesn't work. All right, there we go. Add to stream. All right, it's in there. Ooh, tomorrow's Good Morning train here on Niknax is going to be all fall. I love that. I was just thinking I have to start decorating for fall because it's technically fall, isn't it? All right, let me get my notes up and we will get started. I hope everyone is doing well. It's starting to get a little chilly. I guess maybe it is fall, isn't it? I'm wearing a sweatshirt today. All right. Well, just right now. Right, I do not have any notes yet, so I guess we'll just chit chat. 101 today. Oh my goodness, that's not fall, is it? It's still hot. Oh, there they are. All right, cool. All right, so I guess we will just get into it. I'm gonna grab my notebook because I have a few things I thought of that I didn't include in the notes.
That's why we stole your notebook.
Oh, you stole my notebook.
We were reading what you left us for the eBay stuff.
Oh, right. We had a little meeting before I left.
You do have like 5 notebooks around.
I know. Thank you.
Do you want some coffee?
I would love some coffee. I'm like feeling it this morning. I've like been dying since I got back. Thank you, Shelby. All right, let me get our notes sorted. And all right, I'm gonna write down. I'm gonna date the top of the paper just like we're back in school. It's September 9th, 2025. All right. Of course, I'm like this. My eyes. I see it like you can't even tell. Like I'm opening my eyes as big as I possibly can because I'm so tired. All right. So let's get started. So we are currently at 48,753 members. That's 235 new members since the last week. So welcome to all of our new members. It's great to have you here. Oh, you already had it made. Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
I was here at like 7.
I was actually going to come over early today, and I had to go drop Hank back at the house, and then the guy from Culligan showed up, and I was like, oh, I didn't know you were going to be here. And then I was stuck at my house all morning. But yes, welcome to all of our new members. It's great to have you here. If you are new here, I would encourage you to go on over to the left of your PC or to the left of your do I want this coffee? Yes, I do want this coffee that she has made. Okay, go over to the left of the screen. You will find our chat channels. And in our chat channels, we have a community chat where I would very much encourage you to introduce yourself, get to know the community. I was actually going through our guidelines this morning, and I was rereading our mission statement. And I reread it actually a couple of times. I don't know why. I was like, I just wanted it to really sink in. And our mission statement really stresses community. And I think, and I've said it a million times, that's what really separates us from other platforms. And so it's really important. Just go over, introduce yourself. Let us get to know you. Niknax is all about community. And for those of you who don't know, our mission statement is Niknax is an e-commerce marketplace that strives to offer community-driven selling and buying experience. The goal is to build from what other platforms have accomplished and give an elevated experience of quality, community, and confidence. So there you go. That is our mission statement. So go introduce yourself. Become a part of the community. That's what matters here. That's what matters here. Blue on the water is amazing. See, I'm already getting. I bet you next in Christina's notes is save questions till the end. Because I'm already getting distracted. Okay, so thank you for being here again. Welcome to Coffee Chat, where I get easily distracted, and everyone in the chat shouts out "squirrel." We currently have 5,097 sellers. We've actually lost 5 sellers since last week. That's okay. People move on. They decide it's not for them. And I didn't add any new sellers because I was away last week. And usually when I'm away, I do the bare minimum. So that includes putting new applications on hold. So this week you can expect to see new sellers coming through. I was able to customize my application now. So if you are applying to Niknax, if you get a rejection and you reapply, you will see that there is a new list of questions. Like it's all new, the application. What I'm hoping for is that if you are reapplying for Niknax, the questions will help me approve applications quicker because I'm getting the information that I need to get. So I think that's going to be just a game changer. So if you're applying, please make sure that you are filling the application out correctly. If you get a rejection because you didn't give me the information I needed, remember I've maybe rejected 5 applications in the history of Niknax. Those rejections have been for people who are trying to sell live cats, cattle, buses and cars. We had a scammer try to join from another platform. I rejected them 3 times, so that counts as 3 more. So those are the rejections. So I don't usually outright reject anyone. So if you are rejected, please read your rejection email because 9.8 times out of 10, I'm requesting additional information and you are being asked to reapply. So keep that in mind. Don't read the first line and be like, oh no, I've been rejected. Just read on, find out what I need to approve you. Okay. So this week, expect seller approvals and rejections to possibly go out. We're currently at 117,000 plus listings. That's a lot of listings. So as always, I encourage you guys to go out, do a little browsing on the marketplace, check out. I'm gonna plug this in. I wish I could accomplish this myself, but I do not do it myself. That would be a lot of talent that I do not have. Um, Go out and browse around the marketplace, check it out, see what we have to offer. Um, there's so much variety on Knickknacks, and it just continues to grow, and I love to see it. I think it's amazing. Um, it just it just makes me giddy and excited to see, like, oh my gosh, did you see that listing? Like, it's so like it. I now drink my coffee. Yeah, I'm gonna taste it before it gets cold. It's just such a great thing to see, knickknacks growing in all these different directions that I really never expected. I love to see it so much. So go out and browse. You might be looking for something totally obscure that you would never expect to find here, and boom, there it is. And I would love to see that continue to happen, continue to like, and even if you sell something that you're like, oh, that's knickknacks maybe isn't the right platform for that, give it a shot. I've been doing that. I've been like, you know what? This might sell better somewhere else, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see what happens. And that actually, helps bring people into knickknacks, even especially because our listings show up on Google search results. So if our listings are showing up on Google search results and you list something obscure, it's going to bring someone over. They're going to be like, what's knickknacks? So you list it for 2 weeks, it doesn't sell, move it somewhere else. But getting those listings that aren't necessarily what you would expect to find on knickknacks really helps grow us in all sorts of new directions, and bring in new buyers. So just keep that in mind. There's another tangent for you guys. I don't think we're ever going to get through these notes. if I keep going off. All right, happy. Um, oh, okay. Happy National Teddy Bear Day. It's national. Oh, yeah, I saw the jadeite toilets. Yeah, I know. I need to go find one. National Teddy Bear Day. So, teddy bears, guys. Be listing your teddy bears here on Knickknacks. Maybe we should feature teddy bears on the homepage if I remember by the time I end the notes, to put teddy bears on the homepage. Maybe I should write. I'll write it down on a post-it that I'll probably lose. Um, Teddy bears. Uh, she puts "Go Echo Bear," but not a real one. Thank you for the clarification, Christina. I'm glad that we have that. I mean, we don't we don't want that liability, so we're just gonna throw that out there. You can go hug a bear, not a real one. Make sure it's the teddy bear kind, the stuffed ones. You can, even if you don't have a teddy bear, you can buy it here on Knickknacks. I might have to wait a couple days. We're not Amazon, but you can buy yourself a teddy bear here on Knickknacks. In a few days, you'll get it. Give it a big hug, and celebrate National Teddy Bear Day. It's also National Care Bears Show Your Care Day. So, who all watched Care Bears when you were a kid? I know I did. I didn't know they had their own day. That's pretty fancy. I wonder if every kids television show has their own day. That's kind of wild. Yeah, National Care Bears Day. Who would have thunk it? I wonder if there's like a National Rainbow Bright Day. I just saw that kitchen set when we were in Brimfield, and I thought that was the coolest. I mean, think of all the days we could have. It's nuts. Now my brain is now. See, I'm already off on a tangent in my head, but I didn't really talk about it out loud. So anyway, National Care Bears Day. That sounds really fun. Now for the food. This is what you guys tune into Niknax Coffee Chat for, to talk about all the fun days we're gonna have and how you can celebrate your days. What you come up with the weirdest things? Ants on a log day. Does anyone even know what that is? Ants on a log day. It's a snack you may have had in preschool or kindergarten when Christina was your teacher, because she's probably the only one who knows what that is. It's a stick of celery with peanut butter and raisins on top. Yes. Okay. So some of you knew what that was. I'm like, I have no idea what that is. I'm glad she included that in the notes because I would have been like making random things up, trying to figure it out. So I'm glad some of you actually knew what that was. I like celery with peanut butter, but you lost me at raisins. That's not me. So on that note, we're going to go over to Niknax and see if we can find some celery. I'm just kidding. She's always like, she was like, find some on Niknax. See if you can find it in the buy it now. Probably celery. Ah, celery vases. I like that. You lost me at celery. I just made Laurel's favorite food yesterday, which is bean salad, and I cut up some celery. So I actually just used celery yesterday. Let's see if we have some celery vases. I mean, the obvious thing to look for after that whole tangent would be teddy bears, but I think we're going to go the opposite direction and we're going to look up celery vases on Niknax. She did not eat, she had one pickle. She only ate one of the pickles. Let's look up celery vase and see how many celery vases. It's so funny. I went to all listings on Niknax and I instantly saw teddy bears. I think we need to do that again. Wait, go back. Let's see if it happens again. Ah, look. I didn't have to go anywhere. I just went to the listings page. I just click listings and immediately it's teddy bears. I think Niknax is listening to us. Or maybe you guys are listening and actually listing your teddy bears. Hang on, let me turn you around. Look. Teddy bears. University of Michigan. This one's really cute. I like that. Oh, he looks so soft and huggable. That looks like Einstein. All right, so I found this by just going to the all listings tab over here. This is actually some of these items I have in the buy it now. Okay, let me go here. We're going to type in celery vase. There you have it. There's some, look at this. It's even labeled for you guys so you know exactly what that is used for. There is a celery vase, double handle, celery vase. There you go. Oh, there's a nice celery vase. I'm still set on this holiday season. Oops. This holiday season, I'm probably going to get a celery vase and stick it on the table for my family to enjoy a nice celery bouquet. And does anyone, the history of the celery vase, for those of you who are like, what is a celery vase? The history of the celery vase is that back in like the 1800s, like early to mid 1800s, it was like really posh to have like celery. So you would display it on your table in this like big fancy glass vase. That was usually footed or it had like two handles, and you would just display it on your table. It was a thing. And then like towards the mid to late 1800s, they started coming out with the celery dishes. So they were like long dishes with the little salt cellars, and that was like they started transitioning to that instead of the celery vases. But it's just kind of a fun fact. Fun fact, you know. And now we just stick it in the fridge and it's not fancy anymore. So I say bring the celery vases back for days like this when we want to celebrate ants on a log. All right, enough of that. Let's get back to our notes. All right, first up, save questions to the end because Justin will get off on tangents about celery vases, which nobody even asked for. Okay, let's get started. Save your questions to the end. I will. Oh, put my phone up. Yeah, save your questions to the end. I will get to them. I will have time for questions at the end. If you have a question, write it down on a Post-it and remember it because I would be the one to forget by the time I got done. Oh, we now have timestamps for your sale of your items, which apparently we've had for a long time and nobody told me. Actually, I take that back. I was told, and I was like, oh, thank you. And then I never investigated. And I was like, oh, district didn't tell me, so I don't know if that's an actual thing. And I probably should have just trusted and looked it up and been like, oh, this is a real thing. But everybody was talking about it. And so we were like, is this a thing? And it is. So now there are, in fact, timestamps, and it's not necessarily the same video receipt that you would expect on Whatnot. It's more of like a timestamp of when the item sold. So that's really valuable when people are like, I don't know what I bought, because we get that a lot. And we do get that a lot. I've noticed. Sometimes people are very upset because they just have a picture of your shoulder and they're like, I am upset because I have a picture of your shoulder and not the items I bought. And you're like, well, sorry. Do you want a screenshot? So I'm just speaking from personal experience, but now you have that. So you can do that. Okay, so bids disappear from the chat today. I knew that was coming. I was like, I thought it was coming last week, and I'm like, oh, they're still in there. So I guess that is happening today. So you can expect bids to finally disappear. We've been talking about that for a while. Bids are going to disappear from the chat. So now if you're in the middle of a conversation, the bids aren't going to be bumping your conversation. You're not going to be like, hey, does anyone? And then you ask a question, you run the item, and then you don't have the answers. So that'll be nice. Nice not to see that. All right. As far as that, sellers, there's a link in your dashboard that takes them to the point of sale. So you go to seller dashboard, you click on, I'm not going to do this because I don't want, that's private information for my buyers. I'm not going to show their information. But you go to seller dashboard, you click on orders, and your orders view pops up. And there's a link that says view receipt, and it takes you to the point of sale. Okay. So that is how you access that as a seller. And if you're a buyer, it's in the orders tab, and you just tap the order and it's right at the top. All right, so if you've purchased something, you go to your orders, and the link will be right at the top. You click on that and you'll go right to the point of sale. All right. So, oh, absolutely, of course. All right, so we've got seller discounts. As you guys know, you can create seller discounts. Oh, there's something else I want to talk about. Okay. So you can only do it from the web browser. It's not working for buyers. Okay, Dylan, can you send a message to support if it's not? Oh, in the app, it's not working. Can you shake it then? Do you have an iPhone that you can shake and report that to district? Oh, may need to update. Okay, maybe try to update first. Oh, she knows. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so it might not be working for buyers, but it sounds like district is on it. I appreciate you letting us know. All right, so if you're a seller, you can now create discounts. You can do that from the web browser. Go into your web browser, create discounts. This is great for fourth quarter. This is great for the holidays. A great way to move inventory. It is done via code for the time being. I've talked about it previously. New features like this, you really have to get the foundation of a new feature before you can start building on it. So obviously district has introduced like part 1 to this new feature, and they're going to start building on it now. So you might see an introduction to, oh, well, now you don't need a code to get the discount, or, oh, you can do only certain items. You don't have to do the whole store. And so, we're kind of like at this, now we have discounts, which we've been asking for, and I think it's amazing. But you will then see different levels to that new feature, and I think that's where we're going to go from here. So you do now have discounts, and we'll see where that may lead. So if you need any help with the discounts, you can always email support@district.net, or you can go to the Help Center through your profile tab. All right. Live chat improvements. That's right here on the notes. Bids will no longer appear as chat messages in live streams, like we just mentioned. Instead, they'll show on stage with the current high bidder's name. So it will make the chats easier to follow. So instead of in the chat, like where you ask a question or you're having a conversation and then all of a sudden it's like, and you kind of lose track of the conversation, it will now show where the item is on stage, and you'll just see the high bidder. All right. I think that's going to be an awesome update. I'm actually quite excited for that. It definitely makes the chat easier to follow. So make sure you update your app. Don't be like me, where you're like, oh, it's not working. I'm just so used to it like auto updating. You know what I mean? And I don't know why it doesn't do that. My phone is just not with the program. So make sure if your phone doesn't auto update, you go out and you force that update. How did you know that I did that? I updated the Niknax guidelines. So let me get over to the Niknax guidelines. I just made a few like little tweaks this morning. Wait, was I supposed to make other updates that I forgot about? That's so weird. You can actually Google Niknax guidelines and it shows up like right there. It's like the first. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. It's Googleable. So getting approved to sell can take anywhere from a few days to a few weeks to a few months to a few years. It just depends on how much information was given in the application. Now, I was away last week, so any applications that were submitted last week may get looked at this week. It just depends. All right, let me see. So I made some updates to the jewelry guidelines. Specifically, metal disclosure. I changed the verbiage, which I think will make a huge difference. So previously, it stated that if the piece is unmarked or untested, the seller must use the following verbiage to describe the item: costume, gold tone, silver tone, or unmarked and untested, when describing the purity of the jewelry. This is an absolute statement, and it means that every piece of jewelry you show, you have to describe the metal purity. I think that's a lot. It's a lot to like show every item and be like, this is gold tone. I feel like anybody looking at this knows that this is gold tone. They're going to know these aren't gold. If you buy jewelry, you know that these are not gold, right? I would hope that you would know that. So I changed the verbiage. It now says, if the piece is unmarked and or untested, the seller must use the following verbiage to describe the item: costume, gold tone, silver tone, or unmarked and untested, when asked about the purity of the jewelry. When asked about the purity. So if someone says, are those gold? No, these are gold tone. They are costume. That is the answer. So that will solve the problem of having to say with every single piece of jewelry, these are costume, these are costume, these are gold tone costume, these are costume, these are costume, because it gets redundant. So that being said, the reason we originally put this rule into place is because there was too many jewelry sellers implying that items were gold or silver. Oh, well, this isn't marker tested, but it looks like gold to me. Or this isn't marked or tested, but it looks like silver to me. That's not okay. We don't want those, like 9 times out of, no, maybe not 9 times, but like 6 times out of 10, if it's not marked, it's probably not going to be gold or silver if it's not marked. It could be like heavily plated, but it's not usually going to be gold or silver unless it's very old. I mean, there's certain situations where that can be the case, but usually if it's not marked, it's not going to be gold or silver. There are exceptions, but in most cases. So we were running into an issue where a piece would not be marked, and the seller was giving this idea that, oh, well, it's not marked, but it sure looks like silver. And so that's not allowed. And so that is in this metal disclosure. The seller must not imply that unmarked pieces are genuine gold or silver without testing, which is a little redundant because it's unmarked. Yeah, if it's unmarked, you can't imply. You just can't imply. I mean, not all, yes, not all 925 marked are legit. And obviously, you're not allowed to sell pieces that are counterfeit. That's counterfeit. So if a seller does not, oh, and then we get into the gemstone disclosure, which I also updated. And you guys can see the updates in the guidelines because, as you know, I always put at the top when I've updated the guidelines, I put the date and then I highlight and I add a comment and I leave it like that for a little bit. So if you want to ever see what I've updated, you can go right into the guidelines. Full disclosure, I always highlight, I always put a comment so that you guys know what updates I've made. Okay. So gemstone disclosure. If a seller does not know the gemstones or material used in making the jewelry, it is their responsibility to consult a certified gemologist. In the case that the seller has not consulted a certified gemologist and they do not know the gemstones or material, they must not assume the material. So it's not the seller if they're not experts on the subject, if they haven't spoken to an expert, it's not them to be like, oh, well, this is definitely an emerald. This is an emerald. If you're not an expert, you're not an expert. All right. So you don't know. We don't, the point in these two sections here is we don't want people being disappointed. We don't want buyers being disappointed because it's a reflection on Niknax. And that's all of our guidelines. All of our guidelines. We don't, yeah, Presidium. Yeah, Presidium. And you could say, I tested this on the Presidium. This is how it showed. You can include that. And I can maybe add that in. Um, um, okay. So yes, you can note it. Now, Presidiums can be very temperamental. So that is, they're a great piece of equipment. But I'm pretty sure even the Presidium comes with the disclaimer that you should have some knowledge of what you're doing to use the Presidium and know that, oh, this. So, but yes, it is a great tool, and I have two of them. so yeah. So I did add that in there. If you have the Presidium, and you can always say, oh, well, I tested this with the Presidium. This is how it shows. Or you can even show. I mean, I think some people might find it interesting to show, oh, well, here, I'm testing it on the Presidium. This is where it's showing, but like I was saying, all of our guidelines are to make sure that our buyers are not disappointed in what they're purchasing on Niknax. Because if our buyers are disappointed, one bad experience, and it turns them off to the whole marketplace. It turns them off to all of Niknax. So we just really want to make sure. All right. Cool to the touch. Yes. Cool to the touch, I think, is an okay term because that definitely differentiates between stone and plastic, or even glass. Glass can also be cool to the touch. It's a good way to differentiate between the plastic. Okay, so I think that's kind of what I wanted to go over. That's really the only update I made as far as guidelines so far, but I am reviewing and updating guidelines, and that's always ongoing. Let's talk about blocking. I am a huge proponent of blocking. if you're a seller and a seller, if you're a buyer and a seller, if you're a buyer and a buyer, and you just don't mesh, that's what the block is for. I mean, and I would always advise you, if you're having issues with someone else, just block them. That's how I go about YouTube, Facebook, everything that I do. With the exception of Niknax. I have to be a little bit more hear people out a little bit more here on Niknax. But if somebody leaves me a bad comment on YouTube, and I'm not saying like a constructive feedback, but if somebody's just nasty, I just block them and move on. Because I realize that that person is just negative and they're not going to contribute anything positive in the future, and so you just block them and you move on. And so I feel the same way about interactions on a selling platform. I mean, this I was the same when I was on other selling platforms. If I have a bad interaction with someone, I know that in the future I'm not going to have any positive interactions with that person. So, it's better off to just part ways, and in a professional way. In a professional way, maybe say, you know what, I realize that you're not happy, and nothing I do is going to please you. I think it's best that we no longer have business together, and I'm going to block this any more future transactions. And that's that. I mean, it's your business. You're protecting your business. That being said, if if you realize or notice that you've been blocked, either by a seller or a buyer, it's best to accept it and move on. I know in the past I've received messages from people who have been blocked by other people, and they're upset about being blocked. But you have to understand that they're just they're doing what they feel is best for the health of themselves and the health of their business. And something you did didn't jive with them. And maybe you need to think about, okay, what did I do? How can I improve this in the future? And just move on. Just move on. But there's no reason to try to continue the conversation, um, continue anything, because obviously they're done. They're done with it, and they're ready to move on. And there's no point in continuing. It's over. It's time to move on. So that's that about blocking. I think it's kind of hard to have an accidental block. I think there's a few too many steps that go into blocking for it to be accidental. I think. I don't know. I don't think I've ever blocked anyone from. Usually, when I sense a problem, I don't think I've ever blocked anyone. Oh wait, no, I take that back. I did. I blocked somebody for calling me a. Oh, I think I told you guys that. Yeah, I did. I blocked them. I forgot what buttons I had to press though. But it was a process. It was like I had to. Oh, she called me a word that starts with an S and ends with a T. And there was an F word in there too. I don't remember why. Yeah, oh, it was a whole thing. It was a great one. It was a great conversation. I was like, yeah, it was there was a few less letters in there, Claudine. It was a little bit more to the point. Both of them had a U in it. But yeah, it was like, but she said she was allowed to. Oh, she was self-promoting in lives, and she said she was allowed to do it because a marketplace owner from another marketplace said she could. And I was like, yeah, I don't think you know what you're doing here, because that person's not in charge here. And then she called me that, and I was like, whoa, that escalated really fast. Whoa. Okay, then. I think we're just gonna. So when people do stuff like that, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna block you. I'm gonna ban you from the whole marketplace. It's not just I'm gonna block you from here. It's like, I think it's best that we part ways and we no longer do business together, and I remove you from the entire marketplace because I don't want you doing business with anyone here, because I feel like you're probably going to cause issues with other people on the marketplace. So that's like a business decision where I'm like, I'm going to protect all my sellers and other members, and we're just going to part ways here. So that's the business decision I made. So usually in situations, I'm not blocking somebody personally. I'm blocking somebody on a marketplace level, because they're coming after, like, on a big level. Otherwise, I hear people out, and I'm like, I'm gonna give you another chance, but we gotta figure something out. So that's blocking in a nutshell. Just I need everybody to respect boundaries. I think that's what it comes to. Just respecting boundaries, respecting when people set boundaries, and that's that. Because I respect that we have sellers and buyers on the marketplace setting boundaries, and we need to respect each other's boundaries, okay? And I will make sure that boundaries are respected. So if I hear that they're not being respected, I'm going to have to step in and be like, listen, boundaries were set and we need to respect them and move on. So if they're not, I'm going to have to step in and say something. So there's that. All right. So when it comes to gosh, I gotta think about it. All right. I don't know if I want to talk about this one today. I might skip this one. Yeah, I might save that one for another day. Okay, remember that if you notice something that is not, this is, okay, so if you notice something that's not right in a chat, I mean, in a sale, like you notice like somebody's breaking the rules, and it's not like the end of the world, it's like, you notice something that's like, okay, not the end of the world, but hey, something's not right here. Remember not to call anyone out. I noticed somebody was breaking Guideline while I was away last week. And I went into the sale. I didn't say anything. I went out of the sale and I sent him a message. I didn't interrupt the sale. They were selling, and calling someone out in a sale just it kills the tone. It kills the entire, then they're feeling attacked. It brings everything down. So if you are ever in a sale, I mean, even if you're trying to be friendly, even if you're like, hey, I just wanted to let you know, blah, blah, blah. If it's not hurting anybody, and it can be if there's I'll save that one. I'm going to answer that one before the end of the sale, so I'll answer that one next. But if it's not hurting anybody, if it can wait, just send them a private message and being like, hey, I think you should know blah blah blah. And that's really the best course of action. Or if you think that it's bad enough that, I mean, even if you do something and then you message them like, hey, I just sent you a DM, so then they can go and check their DMs. It's kind of important. I just sent you a DM. They can go check their DMs and then they can come back, but it's not like publicly calling them out. The ideal fix for this would be if we could like send invisible messages. I understand that. I know that it's something I've brought up to district multiple times, and I know it's on their radar. I know sometime eventually, I'm sure we will get that. But as you guys know, there's a list, and that's probably not at the top of it. And I think that would be amazing to have, but it's not the top of the list. So, yes. So please don't call anyone out live. If it can be a DM, if you can quietly, I mean, it throws off the whole groove. So if you can just send a DM, do that. Now, if somebody is drunk or intoxicated, that is harmful. to the entire marketplace. That could be somebody's first impression of knickknacks, coming in, seeing somebody who is who's visibly intoxicated, who's slurring their words, who's tripping all over like, if that's the case, then you need to message a moderator. You need to contact admins or something to that effect. Now, in our guidelines, we say that we will shut down the sale and remove. There's actually a whole section about that in our guidelines. Let's see if I can find it. I mean, it's okay to have a few drinks as long as you're not drinking like excessively on stream. We've said that in the past. Let me see here. Where is it in the guidelines? We have a drugs and alcohol policy. All right, drug and alcohol policy. No excessive drinking or recreational drug use of any kind. If a user, it's excessive drinking or recreational drug use. If a user is found to be belligerent or unable to speak, their stream will be ended without notice. The ability to sell live will be turned off until further evaluation. In the event that any illegal substances are shown on camera, the stream will be ended without notice. The ability to sell live will be turned off until further evaluation. District and Niknax prohibited items include drugs, alcohol, medical products, and items making medical claims. So illegal drugs and narcotics, prescription and over-the-counter drugs or medical devices, alcohol or items for the purpose of intoxication, tobacco, including cigarettes and e-cigarettes, marijuana and other CBD products, products intended to be used for drugs, growing or cultivating ingredients, supplies, or equipment. So District and Niknax reserves the right to remove a listing, cancel related transactions, and suspend or ban involved parties that are engaging in an activity that is illegal, fraudulent, or harmful to the platform. So that is the drug and alcohol policy. So there has been a situation in the past where I was in bed. This was one situation where I was in bed and Christina calls me twice. That's like her code. She calls me twice, and I'm like, oh God, this must be important. That's like the code when she calls me twice, because I know with one call, it's like she needs to talk to me, but it's not that important. And then she calls me twice, and I'm like, oh God. And then it was, oh, there's a seller. They're really, really intoxicated, blah blah blah. And so I'm like, I can't do anything from my phone, so I gotta get out of bed, I gotta go all the way downstairs, I gotta get my laptop, and I gotta get on there, and I gotta do all the things, right? And so I'm down there, and I'm looking, and I'm like, this person isn't even a seller. Like, I can't find them anywhere. Well, they had accidentally removed themselves as a seller in the drunkenness, and so the problem kind of resolved itself. It worked out, but we will end it. Christina will call me twice. I'll be on it. we won't remove it. But it's just when it's excessive. If everyone's having, I mean, I've been on also where, I know for a fact you guys are drunk, and I'm just sitting there laughing with you. But I mean, everyone's having a good time. Everyone's having a good time. You guys are laughing. It's just a good time, and it's not hurting anybody. So there you go. That's that. As long as everyone's having a good time, no one's like stupid. It is what it is. You guys are laughing because you know that I know. All right, let's see. But yeah, so all of that to be said, back to the point. Let's circle back. Don't be calling anybody out in the chat. If it's really serious, if you think it's bad, you can always reach out to a moderator, or you can reach out to me. Admins, moderators, me, Christina, just if it's that bad. Otherwise, send a DM. I mean, you guys, we are a community. So if you're looking out for another seller, if you're looking out for a seller and you just want to be like, hey, I thought you should know this, that, or the other. I think that's acceptable. If an admin or Niknax mod is asking questions in the chat, please respond. If we are asking questions, it may mean that a guideline is being violated. So if you see us in there questioning things, that might be a hint. Like, hey, where did you get these items? Why do they all look the same? Why are they all wrapped in cellophane? That might be a clue that we're hinting at something, and you might not be doing that. Okay. All right, let's get to shout outs. Christina always says, what? Is that her cue? She's like, what? All right, let's do a shout out. Thank you to all who held down the fort while Christina and I were away last week. It was a very long week. Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate that so much. It was a wild week. I mean, the first night we didn't even have Wi-Fi. That was a disaster. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to upload videos. And there was like no cell signal, and I was having a bit of a meltdown, I will admit. It was such a whirlwind. It was a wild, yeah. And then we had another night where an alarm was going off all night long. Didn't even get to sleep at all. And I think I'm still being affected by that and trying to catch up. And my body's like, I hate you. So it was a really long week. It was a long week. But yes, thank you everyone who stepped up, our moderators, admins, even the members of the community who helped answer questions, who supported one another. You are all amazing. And that's what makes Niknax. It just, you guys are incredible. And thank you so very much for all that you did last week. We were in and out, yes, but it really took a village to keep Niknax running and grooving. Remember, if you have questions about the marketplace, reading the guidelines will help you find answers. Absolutely. So guidelines will help you find answers. And like I said, I am going through guidelines. I think one of my goals for re-evaluating guidelines and going through guidelines and making the change like I did in the jewelry is to kind of loosen up a little bit, to kind of give a little bit more, take a little bit away of the power we have. I don't know if that's right, but like give a little, give you guys a little bit more leeway and kind of like, let it happen, knowing that, these are our goals. We have these goals, and as long as we're working towards our goals together, let's do this, so kind of working on the guidelines, making sure we're all aligned on what we want to accomplish, and our core values, our core guidelines are still being followed, but saying, no, you don't have to say this after every single thing, simple things like that. So I will be going through those and seeing what I can update and switch around. So remember, if you have any technical issues, you can absolutely reach out to support@district.net. They are very responsive, very helpful. They also keep track of all of the issues. They keep a record as well. So I always tell you guys, let us know if you're having issues with buyers, with sellers, with items arriving damaged, with messages you're receiving, that sort of stuff. But district also keeps their own record. So, when I receive a message that, oh, I had an issue with this or that, I usually reach out to district and I say, what do you have on this person before I do anything? So I like to kind of get an idea for that. So you can always contact support as well. And now if they get enough reports about someone, they'll reach out to me and say, hey, we have this many, we've had like reoccurring issues with this person. would you like to step in and do something about it? So make sure that you're reaching out to support a district. I mean, yeah, Christina and I talk as well. So no, don't worry, Sam. I did receive that. So I was going to follow up on that today. And then also, you have community at niknax.net. There's that. And we are reading the messages. I have been sending messages to people, warning them, letting them know um, who are our support people. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, as far as district goes, I don't know all their names. And they keep growing their team, so I don't know their names at district. Because somebody new will pop up in the chat, and I remember the one time Christine was like, "Who is that? Who is that? Why do they have a check mark?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And then I messaged Sienna. I'm like, "Is this a real person?" So I don't know. I just trust the process, and I trust that. Oh, I will say this is very important. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. There were fake district. There was a fake district. Thank you. There was a fake district. This is very important. I'm so glad you brought that up. Fake district. Let me check. I think that was correct. Was that correct? Was that fake district? I'm looking it up now. Give me 1 second. Please, please, please always be suspicious. Always be suspicious. I'm always suspicious. Sometimes I'm told it's not a good quality, but I'm always suspicious. Um, I don't know about that. I'm suspicious of it. I don't like it. I'm looking at the message right now. Yeah, be suspicious. And if you ever receive a message like that, this is why we say don't post links in the chat channels, because don't trust any links. Don't click on any links. Don't do it. Yeah, don't click on any of the links. They want to renew your car warranty. And if you have any questions, you can contact support@district.net. If you get a message like that, contact support@district.net, and they will answer. You could be like, "Hey, is this real?" And they will let you know, like, "Oh yeah, that's us," or "Oh no, that's not us." See, I don't think I got that message. So yeah, my first reaction would be to contact support@district.net if I got a message via DM. So I'm going to suggest you guys do that too. Just to err on the side of, they could be like, "Oh yeah, that is us," but just to err on the side of caution, that would be my suggestion to you guys. That's what I would do if it was me. I had to contact Microsoft support yesterday, and they were like, "Can we remotely access your machine?" And I'm like, "Is that really necessary?" They're like, "Yes, it is." And I'm like, my radar, like, I don't really want you on my computer. Like, it's just like, it's such a scary thing. I seriously have trust issues. They fixed what I needed. But I was like, I don't really like that. I don't want you on my computer. But yeah, so always be suspicious when you're receiving any communication, especially with links. And support@district.net is where you can reach out, just to clarify. All right, so coming up, we have Signature Series. That is our event from September 20th to the 21st. It's going to be fantastic. I am so excited. I got some really amazing pieces while I was in Brimfield, and I am so stoked, and I hope you guys are too. That being said, we are just over a week away. Just over a week away. So I'm going to suggest that if you are in the Signature Series, that you are having your show scheduled and you have your items mostly preloaded, if not entirely preloaded. For a 30-minute time slot, you will want 15 to 25 items, ideally. I'm very slow, so I usually can do 15. But I would suggest 20 to 25 if you're like a just grab and go. Sandy's like, I can get through 30 because she's like a 1 a minute person. I'm not that person. I'm like, I'm lucky if I get through all 15 in 30 minutes. But I would very much suggest that you guys, oh man, I would suggest that you guys are at like 20 to 25, at least. At least. It's always better to have more than less. And then load up your buy it now. Absolutely load up your buy it now. Get those items listed in your buy it now. You know, people are going to be in your sale. They're going to be shopping buy it now. You know, even it just, I'm telling you, get those items in your buy it now. Okay. And as a reminder, signature series is for all items hand signed. We're not doing stamps, so your items must be hand signed. So that is your reminder. If you have anything that's not hand signed, anything stamped, we're not doing stamped. I'm like looking for something that's stamped. Stamped does not count. Where's my stamped item? So this would be considered hand signed. Sturbridge Village, it is hand signed. But we're not doing stamped. I literally have no stamped items. So that backfired on me. All right, well, you guys know what I mean. No stamped items, all right? Hand signed initials, as long as they are hand signed. As long as they're like, here are initials, but they are DR, and they were obviously done by hand. So there you go. All right, so there is that signature series. It's gonna be amazing. I'm very excited for this event. I think it's gonna it's gonna be on the level of our paperweights and our glass gallery. It's just gonna be outstanding. And on September 26th, we have Fall into Cottage Core. So fall themed cottage core. I know, and the girls took it over. That's why I was looking for it, and the girls took it. I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm like, I'm like, where is my paperweight? Yeah, so this one is stamped. It's not in paperweight, but it is in fact stamped. So, that one would not count. It's stamped, even though it's somebody's name. It's marked, but it's not signed, so it doesn't count. All right, and then September 26th is our handmade market where we celebrate all things handmade right here on Niknax.net. We want to support our handmade artists because the holidays are coming, and what better way to support our handmade artists than to gift handmade to our loved ones, right? So be thinking about that, as the holidays approach. I love gifting handmade, and I think it's a great opportunity to be shopping handmade, especially when it's all featured on the homepage. So we only have a few more of our handmade markets until the holidays. So definitely be supporting our artists. You can support them all year long, but definitely handmade market. That's where it's at. So to celebrate Niknax community, here's a quote from Winnie the Pooh. The journey is more fun with company. There you have it. Oh, and I have one more thing I wrote down. We have a lot new sellers. I don't know what that is. We have quite a few new sellers. I added a bunch, not last week, but the week before. And I want to remind everybody who's been here a long time, and just to let our new sellers know that one thing that we stress here on Niknax, one thing that like I preached about in the beginning, and I haven't preached about in a while, and I think it's important to revisit, is I have always encouraged our sellers to start their items at the least amount that you are happy with. The least amount you are happy with. I don't want anyone being disappointed with what their items are selling for. So be selling your items for the least amount you are happy with. Absolutely. Um, oh yeah, we have sellers that don't go live. We sure do. Yeah, I mean, when I'm approving applications, I have no way of knowing if a seller is interested in going live or not. There's nothing on the application that says, "Are you interested in going live?" Which I could probably add. I should add that because I'm just going through. I'm like, oh, they have cool stuff. They have cool stuff. I like their stuff. I like their stuff, and I'm just going through, and I'm just either. Well, I haven't really been denying anyone recently, but yeah, I'm just going through and approving people based on what they have in their application, not necessarily whether they're going to go live or not. But yeah, so it's very important on Niknax, and I've realized that on other live selling platforms, it's a race to the bottom. It's like you're just trying to get get your items out there, and so like dollar stars, $3 stars. We do have that here on Niknax, but a lot of that comes from those who have put the time in to get that audience accustomed to those low starts, and usually they don't sell for those low starts. And the people who visit Niknax frequently know that. They're like, oh, so and so is doing low starts, but it's not going to sell for that. So really want to encourage our new sellers here on Niknax. Start your items at the least amount you're happy with. I don't want you guys being disappointed. That's never a good thing. So even if you're the least amount you're happy with is breaking even or making a few bucks, just remember that. All right. Very important. Is there an unwritten rule about giving? No, there is a written rule about gift giving. And the written rule says no gift giving. It's a written rule. It's in our guidelines. And now is the time for questions, by the way. Can we normalize conductors pulling participants from trains who don't follow train theme and guidelines? Yes, actually. We actually normalized that for Niknax. We decided after the last train, not the last one, the one before that, that if the guidelines are violated, oh, that's a very good point. So even going into going into the signature series, this is a very good time to remind everybody that if you do not follow the guidelines of the train, which when you went into the signups, the first page is the expectations and guidelines, which you clicked on. You clicked through to get to the signups, which I know you're in a hurry. You just click and you go into the next one. But they were right there. If you do not follow those guidelines, if you do not rate on time, if you do not have your items preloaded, if you do not have your show scheduled, if you like all those things, you will not be allowed in the next one. Okay? That's how it works. That's how it works. All right. Let's see. They're also in the description of the event chat channel. I love that you're learning about everything, and that's one of the reasons why these chats are just for anyone who wants to come in and learn about Niknax or is interested in knowing how things operate. They're for sellers and buyers, although they're kind of like seller centric. They're for anyone who wants to just come in and hear about it. It can be kind of slow. I have noticed that it is kind of slow sometimes, and I'm not sure why that is, and I thought it was just me. Ooh, that's a good question. Personally, I would probably disperse of it elsewhere because I would hate for it to recirculate back into Niknax via a grab bag. Yeah, take it out of circulation. That's the best thing you can do. Yes, Yes, you can, but our number one rule and guideline is that there is no mention of other sites, marketplaces, or platforms. And there's no cross posting either. So you can't put it in either. You can't put one item in both because then I'll wipe out all your listings. So it's one or the other. Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. I always forget. Thank you for the reminder, Marsha Zadek. Thank you. Yes, I will repeat the question when I answer. I'm sorry about that. Thank you for the reminder. Marcia says, "Can you can you say which question you're answering?" See, I just did it again. Can we see what buyers, sellers like our items so we can send a message, especially for Canada, so that we can explain shipping duties as district they are forwarding to you? Okay, let me write that down. Okay, I'm writing it down. Okay. Your gifting rule is buyers not gifting other buyers. It's not about sellers gifting buyers, right? I'm not sure what you mean, Dylan. Can we see sold history on Niknax? I think it's in the activity thing on the side. Yes, I think the answer is yes. Not sure if this is a district or Niknax question, but can a person that has a failed payment be limited from continuing to bid until the failed payment is cleared up? Thoughts? That is a wonderful question. This is something I have been harping on for months. So, the best course of action if somebody has multiple failed payments, let me know, because that is kind of something specific to Niknax and not district. I usually track failed payments, and when they, in my mind, become excessive, well, here's what happens. This is our process here on Niknax. It's not the process for any other marketplaces that I know of because it's just Niknax. If I notice that somebody has multiple failed payments, I reach out to them and I say, hey, you need to square up with your sellers. That's in our guidelines. It gives them 24 hours to either respond to me with an explanation or to square up with their sellers. If that doesn't happen, they get banned from Niknax, or they get banned from Niknax. So that's what happens, and that's how we do it here, just to make sure that that we don't have that happening, because I understand as a seller how much that sucks to have sold items expecting the money and then you're just out, and that's one of the reasons why I'm constantly saying we're not layaway. We don't have layaway, because we've had people in the past who have spent a bunch of money and then they're like, oh, I'll pay you in 2 weeks when I get my check. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. Gosh, all these texts. So let me know when that happens. They get a warning from me, and then it starts the process. They have 24 hours, and then they get banned. Oh, yes, and you have the right to block them. So if you want to block them, I'll still send them a message. They can still square up with you, but I will send them the message, and then they're put on notice. Yes, it is okay for sellers to put a gift in a purchase. It is not okay for buyers to gift another buyer. So if, for instance, if you're in a sale and a buyer purchases something and they're like, oh, I'd like to gift that to another buyer in the sale, that's not okay. That creates too much confusion for the seller, because now the seller's like, okay, well, this person bought it and I have to get the shipping address for that buyer, or I have to put it over here because it's this buyer's item. And the shipping cost for that buyer is going to be different than you because it's calculated. So then there's a shipping difference, obviously, because the shipping for one buyer is different than the other when it's calculated, because you could be in the next town over and that buyer could be in California. So then the shipping is different. So then the seller has to pay the difference in shipping because it's being gifted. So the shipping is going to be, maybe for you, you were charged $5, but the new shipping is going to be $25. So who's going to cover that? So that's one of the reasons why we don't allow for that. If that makes sense. Sorry, I'm just listening. Oh, yeah. So that's, and then this was brought up last year around Christmas time. We had a lot of this going on, and it was an ongoing issue of shipping costs, and the confusion that went along with that. Sellers being out money, trying to appease buyers over this, like, oh well, then they're out the shipping, because they're just trying to make others happy. So then I decided I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the bad guy. I'll just say no gifting. So now it's in our guidelines, and we say no gifting. Okay, so if you would like to do a practice live, when you set up your live, you can actually toggle on practice. So you just go to go live, and then when you're setting it up, there's a little toggle that says private, and then you are in private mode. I have not been to the P.O. box lately. I can. Let me see. If we've been approved as a handmade seller, do we have to do anything additional to sell hard goods or jewelry? No, you do not have to do anything additional. The caveat is that you still have to follow the guidelines. So, make sure you read the guidelines on hard goods and jewelry. We have very specific jewelry guidelines. So you can find the guidelines over on the left side panel under Niknax. Just click on those. We have about 20 written guidelines, and then there's a separate section that's specifically jewelry. So if you're understanding of the guidelines, you're good to go. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Sellers can hold boxes or bags for buyers till next show, right? Yes. Now, there is no way to differentiate that in your shipping. So if you do that, it's going to affect how your shipping shows on your profile. So for instance, right now, if you go to Crazy Lamp Lady, it shows that we ship in less than a week, which for anyone who's purchased from us, we're pretty quick. But because the girls take off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they count the weekend, which is crazy to me. So we're less than a week. We're not 3 days. So anything that you do to extend that is going to show up. It's going to show up. You are required to ship within 3 business days. So if I notice that it does appear to be longer, I may reach out to you and say, hey, why is it showing? We had, in one instance, it was 3 weeks. And in that case, items were not getting shipped. And so I actually had to shut off selling privileges. Like, why are these items not getting shipped? I think that person's no longer a seller. It was 3 weeks. Yeah, with multiple warnings. Multiple warnings. But anyway, so 3 weeks, I'll reach out, if I notice it's, because I understand, like, even with us, we're really fast with our shipping, but once it's like, okay, well, why is that? So I'll reach out to you and I'll be like, hey, what's going on? And you could say, oh, well, so-and-so asked me to hold a box. Okay. I guess that makes sense. Do I monitor everybody? Yes, I do. If you say my name, I'll show up in your sale. Isn't that creepy? I see everything. Let's see. Are there any live set up for sellers to get on with someone experienced to figure out live selling? Yes, we actually have a newbie train that happens once a month. And Elsie, the thrifting teacher, is in charge of that, and she does a wonderful job. So it happens once a month, and I don't actually have the event calendar right in front of me, but and sometimes she's here, sometimes she's creeping. She might be able to give you a date on that. But if you go to the event calendar, it might be in there. And you can also DM her, the thrifting teacher, Elsie. And she can let you know when the next newbie train is. And it's such a great opportunity for if you're like not really sure about going live, if you want to just test it out, even if you've sold live in the past and you're like still nervous about it, or you want a refresher. It's a great opportunity. It's such a supportive train, especially because members of the community see that and they're like, oh, this is the newbie train. So it really gives you an opportunity to get support from the community while you're learning, and it's not a great opportunity. When am I going to be selling more marbles? Possibly on Friday. Tentatively on Friday. When is my next sale? I was going to try to have a sale this afternoon. I'm not sure yet. So my next sale is maybe going to be this afternoon, but definitely on Thursday and Friday. I was going to schedule them today. And I believe they're going to be preloaded, except for if I have the marble sale on Friday. And I got a ton of new marbles. I'm so excited. Some really fun ones. A ton. Oh, did I miss a question? Let's see. Oh, reminds everyone about not making statements about so and so store sells this for this much when a seller is showing an item. Yeah, that's not okay. We don't do that. That's in the guidelines. That's the guideline violation. So if that happens, you let me know and I will send a warning. Is that the question that you wanted me to respond to? Yes, it is. Yeah. So merging is like the loose term of it, but really, what we need people from Mainly Made just to come over and jump over, and then we're removing Mainly Made. Like it's just going away. There's no actual way to merge the two. So my hope is that people from Mainly Made figure out like, oh, I got to come over to Niknax, and then we got to just get rid of it. So yeah, there's no actual way to merge the two. So that's why it's kind of been up there, because I'm reluctant to remove everything that's gone into it. That's the kind of thing that you don't want called out in live. Yeah. I don't want them to be like, oh my gosh, I saw that over at so and so's store for only $5 and you're starting it at $10. That's not cool, guys. Come on. It's in the guidelines. If somebody does that, it's a violation. You let me know. I'll send them a message and say, hey, I send a screenshot or I copy and paste and I say, oh, this is in our guidelines. You violated that. And sorry, but this is a warning. Sorry, I'm just scrolling. Let's see. What if the seller and a buyer asked if you say marbles? Can I say, but check out Joss? If you're a seller and you want to promote somebody else, that's completely different. If you're a seller and you don't have that item and you want to be like, oh, I don't have that, but I saw so and so has that, then that's completely different. It's when somebody else comes into your sale and they're like, oh, so and so, or I have that. Oh, I have one of those, or so and so has one. That's not okay. you know, I mean, I think even after someone sells the item. So here's an instance. If somebody sells something, say I sell my paperweight. Where did I put that? Where did I put my paper? Do you guys see where I put my paper? Anyway, I guess I don't know. What's over here? Okay, so say I sell my paperweight, and I'm like, oh, so and so, thank you so much, and I sell it. And then somebody else in the comments is like, oh, I have one of those too in my store. Like, yeah, I just sold that paperweight, but you're self promoting your store. Like, I get that you had the same one and there were people bidding against each other and you want the sale, but also you're self promoting your store. Do you know what I mean? I know. I love I love this paper. I love putting the Niknax sign on it. It works so good. Is it okay to say you've researched sold comps when talking about a price? Yes. Yes, it is okay to talk about sold comps as long as you're being realistic. I don't want anyone looking out on Cherish and saying, "Oh my gosh, guys, well this sells for $1,500 and the realistic sold price is like 40 to 50." That's not cool. That's being misleading and not honest. And I don't like that. And even though we don't necessarily have that in the guidelines, that's not okay. And I would probably message you and be like, hey, I'm not sure if you know this, but Cherish is not really how you comp things out. Like I can help you, but we're not gonna do that here because that's misleading. And I would file that right up there with scamming. And I don't want to see that on Niknax. Yeah, so if you go into your listings, it's so easy. You just go into your listings, and at the top, you actually have a drop down where you can switch between two marketplaces. And you would click over, and you can select them and switch them between the marketplaces. It should be super easy. You've never heard of Cherish? I actually had to send Cherish a trademark violation. Like I had to send them like a violating trademark because they were advertising on Crazy Lamp Lady. Like when you would look up Crazy Lamp Lady, Cherish was showing up because they were using Crazy Lamp Lady as advertising. And I had, yeah, isn't that wild? Yeah, I had to send them a whole official letter like, hey, this is a registered trademark and you need to stop that. And they were like, okay, we're going to take that down right now. We're very sorry. I'm like, okay. I know, right? Why does that even, like, why? It was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, no, I did it myself. If I don't have to pay my lawyer, all the better. That's expensive. And it's happened so many times that I kind of learned, I've learned to do it. After he sent one or two, I was like, okay, well, now I understand the format of what needs to be said. And it's kind of like a fill in the blanks of who you're sending it to. Um, yes, CLL Esquire. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Huh, some of the comments are disappearing. That's odd. It's never happened before. One at a time on the app. I think that you may only be able to move one at a time on the app. I'm not sure though. It's been a really long time since I've moved any online any listings because I would only move them between the two, and I haven't moved any in a very long time. Yes, yeah, they've been advertising on my YouTube videos, and that's obnoxious. That's different though. That's different. They're not using my name to advertise. They're just advertising on my YouTube videos. So that's just annoying. Yeah, but they're not using my trademark. Let's see. Oh man. All right. Does anyone have any more questions or questions that I missed because they were going kind of fast there, and I just want to make sure that Any questions? Greeting cards. Do we not have greeting cards? Are we talking handmade greeting cards? Or just, okay. Greeting cards for handmade. Because I think we have postcards. No, they were paying. They pay for it. Trust me. Trust me. I've advertised on YouTube before. I've put my videos out there, and you can choose your demographic and kind of filter it down and figure. Yeah. Yep. No, we did talk about that. Bidding is going away in chat today, so make sure you update your apps. Yeah. You have tops, dozen in multiple sizes. Do I have to list them separately? If they are different sizes, I would list them separately. But you can do quantity listings. So if you have like 4 medium, you can list them like that. Or if you have 3 small, you can list them like that. Yeah, there's a variant. Yeah, so I would definitely suggest doing the variant. Um, why are they removing the bidding in chats? Because it's, well, you're still going to see the bidding. It's going to be down at the bottom. So you're still going to see the bidding. It's going to show the high bidder down at the bottom with the number that is being bid, but it's going to clear up the chat. So like if we're having a conversation, you know, and I run an item, it's not going to just disappear with all of the bids. That's going to be the advantage. Can you list a live auction item with multiple quantity? I don't know. I've never done that. That's a good question. I mean, I've listed multiple variants. Like I've had number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. So I think yes. Also, you can duplicate. Yeah, I can create multiple variants, like 10 of the same thing, and then you could just run them 10 of the same thing. Yeah, you can do the variants or you can do duplicate. Yeah, there's two options there, I would say. That's how we used to do it before we had duplicate. We would just create variants. Did I straighten out issue with storefront? Not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what storefront you mean. All right, I think I'm gonna hop off here now because I've got about 10 minutes until my next meeting. But I appreciate all of you being here. And remember, if you have any additional questions, over here, when you're out on the main page, you will see all of our chat channels, and you can ask any additional questions over there. We have our seller chat channel. We have our live seller chat. You guys can utilize those for any seller related questions. We also have our community chat where, like I said earlier, I would encourage you guys, if you know you're a new member to the community, to introduce yourself, get to know one another. Community chat, we really want to keep community based. We don't want to bring up selling. We just want to keep it about you guys, getting to know one another, kind of keep the selling chat out of it. So you can find that over on the left. Alrighty. Where are the replays of Coffee Chat located? You can find the replays on YouTube, Facebook, and right here on Niknax. If you go to my profile, you can go under live and you'll see every single replay of it. I'm trying to think if I don't think anywhere you can see replay of comments though, which is, but yes, you can find it in all 3 places. Occasionally on YouTube, I will turn it over to members only, and that's because YouTube doesn't really like the lives, and it hurts. I don't know why, but occasionally over there I'll turn it to members only. But you can still find them on Facebook and here on Niknax. So, all right. Remember, questions over on the left. Next meetup at Brimfield. You know what? How about Carlisle Fairgrounds meetup next year, guys? Mother's Day weekend. Let's do that. All right, I will see all of you guys later. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Like I said, I might go live later. I got to pick my kids up between 2 and 2:30. So if I do go live, it'll be after that. But we'll see. Might do a table sale. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling table sale today. So we'll go back to the old table sale. But I will see you guys later. Let's see who we can raid. All right, we got 3 live right now. Made by me fused glass. I'm digging it. Let's go do some fused glass. Here we go.